Hey guys, welcome to Cook with Nancy. Today I'm going to show you guys one of the delicious bread recipe, Jerusalem sesame bread. This is crusty from outside and soft from inside. This is very delicious bread recipe that you must try. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you haven't subscribed, go and hit the subscribe button right now. That way you don't miss on upcoming videos. Let's get started with this delicious Jerusalem bread recipe. In a stand mixer, I'm going to add 3.5 cups of bread flour or all-purpose flour, 2 tablespoons sugar, granulated sugar, 1 tablespoon instant yeast. If you're using active yeast, then you activate and add along with the liquid then when we add. Combine them well, and to this I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of salt or as needed. Combine once again, and I'm going to go ahead and attach to the stand mixer now. If you don't have a stand mixer, that's totally fine. You can use your hand. It's just going to take a little time to knead. Now I'm going to add 1 cup of warm water, 3 tablespoons full fat milk or low fat milk, 1/4 cup Greek yogurt or curd that has to be nice and thick. You can actually put it in the cheesecloth for a couple hours and let it rest, then you will have a hung yogurt, that is thick yogurt. 3 tablespoons olive oil. If you don't have olive oil, just use vegetable oil. Mix on a low speed and then gradually increase to a higher speed, and then you want to make sure your dough comes together nice and smooth, and it has to look nice and soft and stretchy. This kneading process would take anywhere between 10 to 12 minutes, so you need to be patient. Once it is all done, the dough would be somewhere like sticky, so don't end up adding more flour thinking that it's sticky. The dough needs to be a little bit of a sticky, not too much of a sticky side. Now I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of olive oil to coat well on the sides on the dough and make into a smooth soft ball, and put it in the same container or a bowl and let it rest for at least 2 hours or until it doubles in size. It's depending on the temperature of the area you live in, it might vary. After 2 hours, in my case, it has doubled in size. Now I'm not going to punch down too much of air because I need air in the bread, so I'm going to just dust a little bit of a flour. Now remember that we want to keep the dough nice and soft. We don't want to make it too much of a firm dough. Now I'm going to cut them and divide them into equal parts, 4 equal parts. If you want to make into a smaller size bread, you can make them into 6 equal size balls. I'm going to rest my dough for 5 minutes. Meanwhile, I have some other ingredients that we want to keep it ready to go. Here I have water, that is ice cold water with some ice cubes in it, and 1 cup of raw sesame seed, white sesame seed. Now go ahead and start preparing the dough by making a well in between the center of the dough and start stretching it nice and long. We are going to make this into a nice oval shaped dough bread. So go ahead and stretch it. Hold from one hand on top and one hand below. That way it's easy to stretch and also to roll it later in case if you want to give it a nice smooth shape. When you're stretching, it kind of has like uneven shapes or uneven edges, so go ahead and start rolling it with your hand. I'll show you how to do that. If you want to add a little bit of flour, go ahead and add that. As you can see, I'm holding dough with one hand, and then with another hand I'm going to just roll it down. That way it just smooths out all the edges. And now I'm going to take this and dip it in the water just one time in the ice cold water. That is very important. Now go ahead and add it in the sesame seed, raw sesame seed. Coat this dough really well with the sesame seed. This recipe needs generous amount of sesame seed coating, so just be generous and coat them in the middle, in the center, also even inside of the dough. And my oven is preheating at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Make sure before you start the whole process, you put the oven on preheat. Transfer your rack in the middle. We are going to bake this in the middle rack or the lower rack, not on the higher upper rack. Now I'm going to place it in the baking tray that is already lined with the parchment paper. Also, I wanted to tell you, when we are baking this bread, we want to make sure in between the 20 minutes of baking, you want to open the oven once and spray water, a little bit of a water from a spray bottle on the bread. And once you remove the bread from the oven, straight away start spraying again, once again, just a little bit of water, not too much of water. That keeps the bread nice and soft. Also, it prevents from burning, especially the sesame seed. Now I'm going to bake my bread at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 20 minutes. In between, I'm going to shuffle from lower to middle rack and middle one to lower rack. That way it gets even browning. And make sure you spray the water as I mentioned earlier as well. As you can see, the bread has beautiful brown color from outside. It has beautiful crust outside and soft from inside. It's something similar to bagel, I should say. And generally this bread can be served as it is. The Middle Eastern country, they serve with olive oil and za'atar. If you can find za'atar, you can serve with that, or just serve with hummus or just olive oil like me with some olives. And it's super easy to make and super simple recipe. And the bread is easy to store as well. Once it is cooled down, you can cover it with the kitchen towel and store it up to 2 days. I hope you enjoy watching this video. If you have any questions, let me know. I will see you soon in my next video. Till then, take care guys. Bye.